everyone in Dubai, in Pakistan, in this region, and good morning to everyone watching from the US, including our guest speaker. Thank you, everyone, for logging in to our Wellness Wednesday live webinar. This is a platform focused on health and wellness with guest speakers and specialists answering your questions about your physical and mental well being. My name is Zarmina, and I'm delighted to be on this journey with you today. For today's session, do remember you may share your questions for our speaker through the chat feature on this webinar, and we will get to them in the second half of the session. Today, we are in discussion with Dr. Samina Ahmad to discuss her approach to stress management, mind-body medicine, emotional healing, meditation, life mastery, and transformation. Dr. Samina will share insight on the journey of her Primordial Sound Meditation and Perfect Health program. A little bit about our speaker today. Dr. Samina began her career as an internal medicine physician and after many years started her own practice. She has hosted many television programs and is deeply passionate about availability of healthcare to underprivileged women and children, family issues, nutrition, and healthy cooking. She later became qualified as a holistic health counselor, Ayurvedic practitioner, lifestyle consultant, and integrative medicine practitioner. Currently, she runs her wellness center, Dr. Samina's Wellness, which is linked below. Dr. Ahmed, along with her husband, co-founded their New York-based NGO, Salman and Samina Global Wellness Initiative, also linked below. Please join me in welcoming our guest speaker. Good morning, Dr. Samina. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I am doing great, Zarmina. Thank you so much for having me. And I would like to thank Alvin, who's doing the technical support today, and also the Health Bank for creating such a wonderful platform. So I'm doing great. And I want to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the global people out there. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Samina. We are so excited to get this session started. So let's start at the beginning. It's always the best place to start. You have had an exciting journey through many, many facets of the health and wellness sector. Can you share your journey with us and what brought you to where you are today?
So it definitely is a journey and not a destination, Zamina. And I have to tell you, I'm somebody who has always loved roller coasters in life. And I'm not the person who likes the merry-go-round because usually on a merry-go-round, things are pretty monotonous. Roller coaster is what I loved, and roller coaster is what I actually got in life. So I think I lived 4 or 5 lives in one lifetime. I started my journey, in a household where dad was in the army, mom was, a homemaker, but a pretty good homemaker with a background of Ayurveda, which I didn't know was there at that time because we'd never heard that word. It's only later that I found out what that means and what it is. But, growing up, you must have seen moms are usually very proactive with food, what you eat. And mom would always give us certain sort of, statements like don't have water after eating watermelon. Don't eat too much of the yellow lentils. They are bad for your vision. And so, I grew up in that kind of a holistic sort of environment where it was also about people talking about karma, don't you need to be kind, you need to be compassionate. Mom and dad always put a lot of stress on doing social work. So I grew up in that. Dad was in the army. We traveled a lot, and I think traveling teaches us a lot. I became a doctor in Pakistan and worked in internal medicine, gastroenterology. But somehow, raising my own 3 boys, I was always more, inclined towards less aggressive methods. So if you came to me with your baby with any ailment, I think my first stance was let's just not do aggressive treatment, too many side effects to the antibiotics. We'll keep them for when we really need them. And I would try to heal the patient with less aggressive methods. Worked in pediatrics in Karachi as well. And somehow I noticed that within 3 days, the children would be okay. And you didn't really need to go really aggressive. So with my own 3 boys, I think except for the immunization, I rarely used any medication. So that was a little, I think foundation of my, being as a medical doctor and all. Then In 2002, I moved to New York. And in the last 18 years, I have delved in holistic medicine. And it came to me in an interesting way because I had no intention of moving in this direction. But I don't know if you believe in fate and destiny. Somehow, anytime I would want to go and do my Kaplan pre-residency exams, something would happen, like a boulder or a blockade, and it would be telling me, "Do not go in that direction." Twice, my mother needed my help, so I was trying to help her out with her recovery. She had a couple of surgeries, and in that interim period, I remember I got a little, I got somehow it felt like, hey, I'm a healer. I know I'm a medical doctor. Why am I not moving in that direction? So, in that time period, which was a good 10 years, I traveled a lot because I was managing my husband's band. And guess what? 22 times I experienced medical emergencies in planes. And I don't know how many times you've experienced it.
None.
In a way you feel, hey, don't travel with me. That's what Salman don't travel with Samina. There's going to be some trouble in the plane. And so time and time again, that happening where I was utilizing my skills to help people. And then one day I sat in front of my laptop and I had a little conversation with the higher powers and said, hey, I know I'm a healer. How come I'm not doing anything in that field? And then I said to myself, I remember I had gone to doing some courses with Dr. Deepak Chopra, and I had also experienced a beautiful sort of event which lasted actually for a while. It was a 1-year course at Institute of Integrative Nutrition. All these little learnings, in a way, wanted me to ponder and say, hey, what is my passion? What do I love? And I realized it's nutrition because I had done a television show for 7 years in Pakistan, teaching people how to cook. So I think that, in a way, triggered me to move into the holistic field. I joined, in fact, I did about 20 certifications in the last 18 years, which have spanned Ayurveda, massage, energy healing, anything to do, like I wanted to use my hands to heal my patients. I wanted to use literally all my, sort of skills. I'm like I think the analogy I'd like to give you is, you remember, like a construction worker has tons of tools, and you take out the tool you really need, but you have all of them available. That's how I look at medicine now. So I practice as an integrative medicine practitioner. And what integrative practitioners do is that they use modern medicine tools, they also use traditional medicine, and they put them together under one umbrella to heal their patients. And I love that because integrative medicine is preventive, it's protective, and it's personalized medicine. And I think that's the need of the day.
Thank you, Dr. Samina. So you mentioned integrative medicine, and your approach to health and nutrition is so holistic. Can you explain to our viewers, because everybody's here to hear about mind, body, and spirit medicine, what exactly is that? What does that mean to you? And how is that relevant for all of us?
I think when I was actually practicing more as a modern medicine practitioner, my understanding was that we're just a physical body, because everything I learned was concerning the physical body, whether it was nutrition, it was, um, physical exercise. So everything just related to one dimension, but there was always some kind of turbulence. For me, practicing in outpatient department and literally examining 60 patients a day in Pakistan, the setting, there's so many patients. I realized that when I was treating them, it was based only on their physical ailments and medication. So once I was introduced to Ayurvedic medicine, and Ayurveda means Ayur is life or knowledge, and Veda is the science of knowledge or science of life. I was introduced to me as a multidimensional individual, mind, body, and spirit. So, to give you an analogy, think of an onion. You know how the onion has many layers? So, you
Right.
and I also have many layers. And now, Samina does not begin from here. Uh, which is usually something that people would think, hey, that this is where I begin from, my skin. But my skin is not where I begin from. I have an outer layer which is called the environment. So that is where I begin from. So that is my outermost dimension, but it's part of me. I'm a whole. I'm 360 degrees, mind, body, and spirit. And I will only feel good or balanced when I am a whole or I heal myself as a whole. So starting from outside, let's say the environment, if my environment is not clean and it's toxic, it's polluted, and I'm not taking care of animals, of the trees, of the air I breathe, then I'm never going to be healthy. So we start from that, and then we move on in. Then I have my physical body, and what do I nurture my body with? Food and water. That's what I feed that. So eating good food, good nutrition, clean food, is again an important integral part. Then I move in more, and then that's where my mind is. And mind is knowledge, mind is intellect, it's my memory, it's my experiences, it's my ego, all that. And then we move deeper in, and that's where your soul resides. And soul is in a beautiful space. It's your innermost, your core. And to reach that, of course, you have to cross all these layers. A lot of times people will not find time to do that. But what I realized was that till there is a balance between all these layers, I will not be whole. And we talk, we write holistic medicine with an H, but the whole is WHOLE. So holistic medicine is important to us. And I feel that's the reason that I think there is so much of illness, and there are the diseases, especially the chronic diseases. And if you can, if you Google the map of the US, and I can give you an analogy from that because I live here, and you just look at the decades, 20 decades, sorry, 2 decades from now, move on and see how the illnesses are increasing, especially chronic ones like diabetes, and you've got hypertension, you've got heart disease, cancer, obesity. All this is just increasing. And I know the reason why that's happening is because we are not really nurturing all our dimensions. So, the concept of mind body medicine or mind body spirit medicine is that if you heal and nurture all these dimensions, you will not get anxiety or depression or diseases like these, because there will be a balance and you will have a sense of groundedness and centeredness. So, I think the approach should be to nurture all these dimensions in you.
That's such a great approach, Dr. Samina. And also, I think the map for this region looks quite similar with the growth trajectory into the chronic disease and other lifestyle, illnesses and factors that affect that. And you hit such a key note, which I think we all can relate to, that we may not be giving as much time as we should or as much thought as we should to our holistic approach to our own health. So I think the question at the tip of our tongues is, how can we achieve this life mastery and transformation? What is the ultimate goal to achieving this?
So a lot of times, I would tell people it's great to be goal oriented, but don't get stuck on that word goal. Because what happens is when you have certain expectations that you've put forth on your list of where you want to be, and you don't attain it or achieve it, that's where depression sets in, because we are extremely critical of ourselves when we don't achieve that particular goal. So I'm not going to say that don't be an achiever. Definitely be an achiever, have those, sort of goals like that, but do not define something as a rigid structure that you have to attain. And if you don't attain it, it's going to be the end of everything, right? So having a purpose in life, I think that's what I want to focus on. Having a purpose in life where you feel that purpose is going to be helpful not only to you, but to people around you and to humanity as a whole. So to give you an example, if I, being a doctor, okay, I am a doctor, I have my private practice and I make money through that and all, but I benefit my patients. And then I also find time to do some social work where I'm going to help the underprivileged. So that's how you define it. And you talked about transformation. So transformation is possible, but it's not possible in a very quick way. And we are all right now living in a world where we just want things to happen like that at the snap of a finger. You
Right.
want food, you go to a drive through. You want to look beautiful, you'll
Yeah.
go for procedures, surgical procedures. Everything has to be done instantly, and it's all about like the Instagram. I guess everything is instant. I think things are becoming so shorter now. The TikTok, I believe it's like how can you get attention or grab attention in
Yeah.
5 seconds from the
That's
world? So it's all these things that I think we have a problem with our attention span that we need to really work on. We need more patience in our life. We need more focus in our life. And we need to do this to actually achieve what we want, because otherwise you're a hamster on a wheel and you don't really get anywhere. So transformation happens through meditation, and that's the main route. And meditation is of different kinds. It's visual. It could be, totally silent. It could be auditory, anything like that. But meditation, and people run away from that word. They feel, hey, till I have my room, my corner with the right mat, with the right kind of like sayings in the room, the lighting and all, and they never end up doing it. Or some people sometimes feel, I don't think I can ever meditate. It's something that people do who are more evolved. Well, that's not so. Just a minute of sitting in a quiet place and breathing in and out is all that's required. Inhale and exhale, focusing on that breath is all that's required. And you slowly move from that 1 minute to more till you can do, this meditation twice a day, morning, evening, 30 minutes, especially sunset and sunrise are the two strong sort of timings. But you cannot move from step one to step eight. It has to be one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. So there is no shortcut. It's a slow process, the transformation, and enjoy it. Enjoy every bit of it, you know, because you're going to learn, and your experiences and learnings are going to make you more evolved. But so right now, we could easily say, hey, I'm in the fight or flight sort of phase, where if somebody is angry at me, I am angry at them. I'm reactive. And, somebody pushes me, I push them back. That's the reptilian way. Animals are like that. So we want to move beyond that. And the next step could be that I'm meditative and you can push me, but I don't take it personally. And it's like, okay, it's all right. Right. And then you move on more to doing these sort of experiences where you connect with your soul and your heart, and you find out who you are. So all of a sudden now you have recognition that you're not just a body or a mind, you're also a soul. So recognizing that, like right now I'm talking to you, but who's listening? That's that concept of transcendental,
right.
consciousness. And then you move a notch more, which is that out of the body experience. And I don't know, many people on this platform must have experienced it, and they sometimes label it as deja vu, but it's more like, hey, I get up in the morning and I feel, I think I'm going to be on a particular road today, and my husband will be driving and we will cross, our cars are going to cross. And then it becomes a reality. You thought something, thoughts become events. That's another form of you. So you're now evolving, transforming. And then the next level, that if somebody is cutting a tree outside, you go and fight with them. It's like, excuse me, why are you cutting this tree? You see a dead animal on the road and you try to move it from the road to a better place and try to cover it with some dust. And then again, the highest, I think, form is that you see, literally, you're seeing a higher power in everything, in the whole universe. And ultimately, you become part of that. So, unity consciousness, which means that Zarmina's pain is my pain, and Zarmina's success is my success. I'm not jealous of her success. So you are one. It's unity consciousness that you have to attain, right? So in this whole journey of transformation, the ultimate, I guess, uh, purpose is to become one with everyone, forgive, and live a life of love and compassion.
So, Dr. Samina, just on that note, because that's so helpful, but On the note of meditation, and for those who might be new to it, or maybe a little bit skeptical, or maybe just not comfortable with being silent with themselves, you mentioned being conscious, having intention. What advice could you give them for somebody who is new to this or struggling with it?
So that's a great question, Zarmina. I think we, like I said, are hamsters on a wheel. And the reason we struggle is, and I'll tell you, a lot of times we struggle because we don't want to go into that quiet space where I am all alone with my feelings and that awareness of facing me, facing my demons also a lot of times, right? So avoiding it, and to such an extent that I spend my whole day being a workaholic and don't want to find that quiet time. I want to get up in the morning, work, 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 and then maybe even play, 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 and then go to sleep at 2 or 3 in the morning. Well, it's too exhausting now. And generally saying, hey, I'm too tired, I can't do it now. But what happens is this is more like escapism, I call it. We need to understand that we are not here on this journey just to live like animals do. There's a word I'll use, which is an Urdu word, ashraf al makhlukat, which means you are superior. You have that ability. You have the mechanics to do better than just live at that basic level of eating, food, sleeping, procreation, right? So how will that happen? It's only going to happen when you find time for yourself, and you are the most important person in your life to you, if I may say so. And meditation cannot be achieved in any other way. Nobody can do it for you. It's experiential. So prioritizing, and I have to tell you, in my 38 years of experience in being with wellness and health, the one tool that I learned in my life, which has drastically improved my life, is meditation. So, starting with baby steps, one step at a time, don't get overwhelmed. Can you take out 5 minutes of your life, time?
Right.
5 minutes is not too much, right, Zarmina? So, 5 minutes. All
Right.
right, and all we're going to do is just sit anywhere we find comfort. You don't have to have a big room. On a chair is all you need, or on the floor. And you just close your eyes and you inhale and exhale. And the moment you feel you are not focused on your in breath and out breath, and you get distracted, because distractions do happen. You might think of, hey, what do I have to cook today? Or the fact that I don't know what that sound was from. Or, oh my God, I think I have to make a phone call. So I give the analogy of a swimming pool. When you are, if supposing I told you to go down underwater, here you are, meditation, I want you to go to the bottom of the swimming pool. I don't want you to be here. I want you to go to the bottom. But what happens is, with meditation, we try to sit, but we are restless, right? So we go down. We might be chanting something also, like so hum, so hum, so hum. We need to have some kind of a mantra which does not make sense, because if I say I love you, I love you, I love you, gazillion thoughts are going to come in my mind when I say it. So you have to say something which has no meaning. So hum, so hum, so hum. And then all of a sudden I feel, hey, I think my right knee is itchy. So I come
Exactly.
up again, and then I have to go down again. Hey, I think was there a knock on the door? Okay, but don't judge your meditation. It's okay. We are human. It's all right. You go back into it until one day you will realize that you are able to go down really, and stay there. Now, what is my purpose of doing this meditation? There are 60,000 thoughts that come in our brain every day. 60,000. And they're all about your past or your future. And the past is regrets and the future is anxiety. So we don't want to do that. We want to stay in the present moment. Present moment is always good. You have a roof on the on your, hopefully have a roof on the on your head, and then you have some food also, and you're always happy. Present moment is beautiful, staying in that and just trying to relax and relax. So what happens is, if these are two thoughts, I want you to go into the gap between the thoughts. Why? Because we want to expand this distance between two thoughts. If there are 60,000 thoughts and I expand the distance between two thoughts, I will not have 60,000 thoughts. I'll have less thoughts. And that's where I want you to be, not to be overthinking, because people who are anxious, people who are depressed, who are fearful, overthink. So we want that to change through meditation. And start, and I always say to them, start from where you are and do what you can. That's it. Simple.
Mhm.
Nobody is judging you. You are on your own journey. Like the horses in Pakistan, I remember we have that Tonga, and like the horses have these blinders on the side, so they can't see the right or the left. That's how we need to live our life. Our journeys are our own. Don't get overwhelmed by other people's journeys. You know, just stay focused.
I think we can all relate to that so much, even a concept as simple as just being distracted by the noise or what's above the surface or what's happening in our environment. And I think that makes me wonder, can the emotional healing have an impact on our physical well-being? Because I think a lot of the times people struggle to connect the two. If there's a physical ailment, it's I will go and see my orthoped because my knee is hurting. If there's an emotional ailment, it's not so readily as addressed. And then at times there's a space where the two are connected. And I think in that case, maybe becomes much harder to address the issue and how to, work on it. So what is the impact emotional healing would have on physical healing?
So, a huge impact because I just talked about mind, body, spirit wellness, and I talked about how the body is connected to the mind connected to the soul. But I want to talk about the mind body now because emotions are right there in the mind, and they produce feelings in the body. So, the mind and the body are connected to each other through a bridge. And that bridge, I want you to remember, is the breath. If the breath is beautiful and relaxed, then the body becomes relaxed. The mind becomes relaxed. They have a very direct relationship with each other. If the breath is labored, is fast, then they are both in turbulence. So, just before an examination, let's give you an example. Our heartbeat is fast, our respiration is fast. And why is that happening? Because what happened is the mind is building up that examination to be like the most terrifying experience ever. So when you get terrified at that level, there is a fight or flight inborn mechanism in your life and your body which has been put in. It's an innate mechanism, but it was put in there. Why? It was put in there so that if I saw a snake or any other danger, I would react by running, fast away from it or by killing the snake. But this particular mechanism was not supposed to be switched on full time, 24/7. What has happened now is that we are always on that on mode.
Right.
We are constantly experiencing stress, cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline. All these different hormones, which are stress hormones, are secreting themselves all the time. What will happen because of this excessive excretion? This toxicity is going to affect all my or impact my body and cause disease in my body, right? So there's a direct connection. Like you said, emotions are going to directly connect or directly cause problems in my body. Now, what happens is when you eat food, it gets metabolized, it gets broken up. If it is not broken up, it is not going to benefit you because it can't be absorbed any other way. It can't give you the benefits of proper digestion. So people metabolize food. Not everybody does. Some people have gut issues and they don't. What happens when you have undigested food in your body? It produces toxicity, which we call in Sanskrit ama. And that means it's going to create poison in the body and cause disease. Similarly, emotions have to be metabolized, which we don't. A lot of times you don't metabolize them, like you mentioned. We don't even go to anyone. You might call a friend and tell her, hey, I'm so sad today or I'm depressed. But sometimes your friends and family cannot help and you have to seek medical advice, and you don't do it because of taboos in a society, cultural norms.
Mhm.
If you don't metabolize your emotions, it also causes toxicity or armor. So I'll give you an example. I have a patient, let's say, who comes to me and says, Dr. Samina, I have amazing, you know, nutrition in my life. I eat holistic, like I eat organic food. I eat it from the right source. I exercise also, but I wake up in the morning feeling very disturbed and negative. Why is that? And then I'll take a history and I'll find out that this particular patient has not spoken to his dad for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And that is the imbalance. So realizing what has happened, what are you carrying on your, on your shoulders, on your mind? You might be carrying a big elephant. You're not supposed to carry an elephant. You don't have the ability to. So don't overburden yourself with so much that you crack, you know. Those are important things. Now, there are two kinds of people. There's a problem creator, I call him or her, and there's a solution maker. In your life, I'm sure you must have seen such people. Whatever you say to them, it would also, it would either spell as, but the problem is,
Yes.
right? Or Zarmina, it could be somebody, we all know there are problems, but there's always a way out also. So this person is seeking solutions. We want to be the solution makers in life. And then again, there are again two kinds of people. One is the oak tree who doesn't want to bend. And once it's like my way or the highway. And then you have people who are like the reed who bend. It's okay. You win the race. Let me give you the medal. It's okay. You are the winner.
Right.
Now, the reed, if you see, when the storm comes, it doesn't break because it bends, whereas the oak tree will just crack. So, trying to tame your ego, I'm not telling you to eliminate your ego, it's your defense mechanism. Just tame it. Don't let it overwhelm you or overpower you. That's all you need to know there. So emotional toxicity cannot come into your lives. You need to understand your emotions. And I tell people, whenever something or a feeling arises in your body, please try to recognize it. What is it? What effect is it having on you? Because if you don't know that, you won't be able to heal yourself. So really, trying to understand the emotion, pinpointing where it is hurting, and then trying to release that through meditation.
That is such a helpful reminder. I think for all of us, we can relate to it in our day to day lives. And just looking at the current situation globally, no matter where we are, I think we're all facing certain challenges. And it's always good to have these reminders, such as how important our breathing is. I think when you said that, I just took a nice big and relaxed a little bit. And it's so important. And I think everyone watching is really benefiting as well. And that brings me to the question. I think everyone is interested in knowing what is the perfect health program. I'll just take this opportunity to remind everybody watching today that one of the lucky viewers will be winning a giveaway complimentary introductory session with Dr. Samina. So stay tuned because you're going to hear all about what her programs are. And I think we'd all love to hear from you, Dr. Samina. What does a program with you look like?
Okay, so before we venture into that, you reminded me of the breath, and there are two different exercises that I can share with you right now, which are easy. The first one is the easiest, so I'm going to start with that. I feel the purpose of education or knowledge is to make it so easy. That's what I want to always do. I don't want to use technical terms and difficult language for you to get overwhelmed. I want you to, at the end of this session, I want you to take away a lot of stuff that you can incorporate in your daily life and living. So the first breath is the simplest. What happens in this one is we inhale to the count of 4 and we exhale to the count of 8. It
Okay.
can't get any simpler. So
Right.
it's double the exhalation. So let's just do that. Let's close our eyes and do this breath where we are going to breathe into the count of 4, and I'm going to like do that, and then we will exhale to 8. So starting with the inhalation to the count of 4. Let's go. Now exhale. One more inhale and exhale. So 4 and 8, that's very simple, right? You can do that breathing anytime. And anytime you feel fearful or anxious, do the breath and do another breath, which is the 4-7-8. And Dr. Andrew Weil is the one who is that. So according to that, we inhale to the count of 4 and now we stop. Hold it to the count of 7. And then we let go to the count of 8. Again, inhaling to the count of 4. Stop. Hold it. 7, let go 8. So this breath, basically, I'm doing it quickly. We have less time, but I wanted to tell you that inhalation is always exhalation is double that of inhalation, and holding the breath actually improves the capacity of the lungs. When you hold it, you have that ability to, it's basically, it's like breathing is like, lots of muscles are being used. So you're actually, using the ability of all those muscles in these breaths. And I want you to do this breathing every day. Yoga is amazing, breathing and meditation. So in my perfect health program that Zarmina just talked about, I have clients who either do 6 months with me. So we do 3 sessions every month, so 18 sessions. And in that, I actually move them from literally experiencing what their mind body constitution is, because perfect health is about finding out who are you. you know what is your mind body constitution, what kind of food should you eat with that mind body constitution, what is your daily routine, what is your seasonal routine, how can you detox, how can you learn simple things like self massage, and how can you have good sleep hygiene, how can you use your senses to actually reach out to your inner pharmacy which God has created. So the perfect health in a way teaches you to de-stress, to have low blood pressure, or a balanced blood pressure, and it teaches you good sleep. It literally reduces stress in your life, which I think is so important and we're all battling with. So the main reason I'm in this field is I want to equip you with all the techniques so that you become self reliant and you don't have to rely on me, because I know that you were created with healing in you. And that is how I look at it, because after having studied the human body and the human mind, I know that you have the healing ability, and the only issue here is you don't know how to use it. So once you learn that technique, you can bring that wellness to yourself.
That's such a message. Thank you so much. I will ask you one question, Dr. Samina, and we will open the floor to some questions that we're getting, and we're super excited to be answering them. So, I would like to know, you are passionate about so many areas in your life, including your global wellness initiative, healthy cooking. You've been on many TV shows, nutrition, helping underprivileged women and children, along with running your wellness center. How do you cultivate the energy to give to these different areas, and then having enough energy, for yourself to remain positive and to continue going at the pace that you are?
Yeah, that's interesting. That question, I get asked that question a lot. And, my friends always, they're, I think, also joking about it. It's like, Samina, what is wrong with you? I usually get that. But I think here I'll give you an analogy of your cell phone. So your cell phone is useless when the battery goes, right? When it doesn't have battery or charging, it's just a piece of metal. So we are the same way. We live on energy. We live and survive because of this energy. The difference between a dead person and a living person is that the dead has no energy and we do, right? If you're alive. So I think for me, it's important to protect my energy, if I may say so. And how do you protect it? So I've learned certain techniques to protect my energy. I have learned energy healing, so I know how to raise it as well. But how do you do it if you have not, learned these modalities? Well, you have to conserve it. Now, one thing is, you cannot expend more than what you have. If you have $100, you can't spend more than 100, right? What happens is people take themselves to the nth, stage where they have nothing left anymore. And then they get, of course, if you expend more than what you have, what will happen? You'll get fatigued, you'll get tired. So I try to conserve that. And how do I do it? I don't think I have a very active social life. I love people, by the way, don't get me wrong. I love people, I love to communicate with them, but I love books, I love reading, I love movies. I spend more time doing all that. I love to be with my children, my family, and I enjoy that as well. But I'm a more a homebody now because I got married to somebody who doesn't like going out that much. Although it's quite a paradox because Salman is a public person, he's on the doing concerts, but I think he gets so much of that that he then literally loves being at home. So I enjoy my space and I find interesting things to do. When I have to recuperate, I will try to focus more on my sleep. I will make sure I sleep because that's how I regenerate my energy. And everybody should know that you actually, if you sleep on time and you wake up on time, that is where your body gets rejuvenated and all your new cells come up. So you feel better. So sleep is there, good food, trying to eat according to the mind body constitution, and sometimes doing the 80-22. It's okay, we're only human. So I love my chocolates. And
Yeah.
sometimes I do have my soda as well. It's okay, life is short. Don't be too hard on yourself. We are human afterwards, after all. So trying to have good relationships and focusing. I do a lot of meditation. I love reading spiritual stuff. I read my scripture, I do my prayers, and I think all that gives me this energy that I sometimes when I lose it or whatever, so I try to gain it back through that.
Thank you for sharing that. That was super personal, but I think it kind of got all of us thinking as to what works for us. For some, it might be going out and being social. For some, it might be some
Yeah.
time, pick up your favorite book or, many, many other options. I think it's a great reminder for us, all of us, to think about that. And I would like to now get into an interesting question from one of our viewers. It's quite a long question, so I will condense it. But essentially, our viewers asking us that they face a lot of stress and anxiety, largely due to overthinking at times. And also, they feel that they get disheartened from time to time because maybe they're doing good outwardly to other people and to the environment, but it's not necessary that they're receiving good in return. So I think this is a very packed question, but what would you share with our viewer who's very interested to know your perception to this?
So basically, what your viewer has said is that he is it is it a gentleman?
I believe
So
it's
there are
a
two parts to it, right? One part is where he feels that he does a lot for other people and he's not getting that back, right? And what was the first half of that you just mentioned?
that he gets stress and anxiety due to over.
Anxiety, yeah. So let me first focus on when we don't get what we give. And I think here uh, our perception needs to change because life is all about perception and whether the glass is half full or not, right? And how you perceive it. But if you are focusing on goodness and in trying to make the world a little better than the way you received it or what you saw of it, If that is your own personal agenda or your own perception, then nothing hurts you. The hurt happens when the ego takes over. So the poor me syndrome of like, oh, the I'm the one who gets the bad deal always. I'm the one who's going to get the suffering and all. So I would definitely encourage you not to encourage these thoughts, the negativity, which is lurking around, but it's your pain body. You see, the pain body lurks up and it's like, I did so much for this person and it's just not like happening the way it should. So now that body comes out like a dragon and it's got its head out now. But if you keep feeding it with, that's true. The last time I did something good for this person, also, I didn't receive any benefit. Why the hell do I keep doing it? So now the neck comes out of this dragon because you're feeding this emotion constantly. I want you to shine a light on it, on this negative emotion, and say, hey, I see you, pain body, and I'm not going to get tricked. And then it goes back where it came from. So instead of you moaning and groaning and spending so much of your time just based on why am I not moving forwards, why am I not getting good deals and all, you just stay positive and stay firm on what your goals are. Like a caterpillar to a butterfly. The butterfly doesn't just become a butterfly. There is so much struggle that the caterpillar makes to become that butterfly. And the struggle is the whole, I think the whole gist of life is that struggle, the learnings. And I remember there's a book that just came out, I think, How to Lead, it's called. And this book talks about, I think 30 people were interviewed, Bill Gates, and you have many other people who are successful, John Bezos. And so what basically these people are saying is that they all encountered failure. These famous people or successful people, the commonality is that they had failure at a young age, but they were resilient. They had integrity. They had challenges, but they shared, a lot of their wealth with other people, whatever they made. So a lot of these things brought them to where they are, but it's not as if they made it easy. Many of these people, it wasn't as if they just got it. And in fact, studies have shown that people who came from a humble background did better because they had drive. The ones who had everything set up for them did not have that drive. The drive, they're exceptional cases, but the drive also goes away that way. So I want you to stay positive, and I want you to give yourself positive affirmations. So what I do is in my Primordial Sound Meditation course, I teach people to make their own affirmations. They write them down. And this is going to answer the first half of your question where you talked about stress and anxiety, that you have all these things happening, right? So I want you to do your meditation, but as you go into your meditation, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. Who am I? 3 times with a gap of 5 seconds. Who am I? Who am I? And you don't have to wait for the answer. It's okay if the answers don't come. These are like seeds which we are putting in your consciousness. And in your subconscious mind, you are going to plant these. Now, you're not going to keep looking, hey, I planted a seed. Let's see how much it's grown. Let it be. The results are going to come in your real life. And the second question is, what do I want? 3 times. What do I want? What do I want? And the third question is, what is my purpose in life? What is my purpose in life? What is my purpose in life? So I did these meditations, like I just told you, these 3 questions, planting the seeds, and then miracles happen in my life. Sometimes I'm on a plane and there is no emergency, but there is somebody sitting next to me who starts talking to me and then invites me to give a talk somewhere that they are working at. So opportunities arise. Positivity comes in my life. And then I end my meditation with certain affirmations. I am perfect the way I was created. I have confidence. I have courage. I have positivity. So affirmations are always positive. They are never going to, you're never going to say, I have no stress. I have no anger. No, you are just going to focus on the positive statements. That's the way affirmations are. And then, so when you keep doing this, your state of mind changes. Fear and anxiety right now is at the top of emotions which are being felt because of COVID-19 that just happened. So remember something. You might go to sleep with nothing significant happening, and in the morning you find out something drastic. Somebody died, I lost my job. This uncertainty is what life is all about. You need to embrace that. Take a deep breath. It's okay. You know, things happen for a reason. Nothing is random in this world. What you didn't get was not good for you. What you got is perfect for you. And don't judge it by the standards of the society. Don't do that. So this is the most important lesson here, that try not to build too much out of something that's happening. Just take it easy, relax, do the breathing that I told you, it will de-stress you.
Yes.
Those are all the sort of learnings.
Thank you. I think that's very helpful to our viewer. We have another question, a very thoughtful question. How can I help my partner, a spouse or a life partner, on working on their issues, which could be holding us back from happiness? So I think this is a different approach to it, because when it's you have to look in the mirror, you have to look inside internally. When it's somebody you care about, then you're suddenly cautious about hurting their feelings or being offensive. How can you deal with it if it's your partner or somebody close to you?
So interestingly, I also do relationship counseling. And in Pakistan, there were children who had suicide issues or low self esteem issues. Here in the US, sometimes marriage counseling as well. So, when now there are two kinds of spouses. One could be somebody who's willing to receive help. And then there's a spouse who feels that I don't need any help from you. I am perfect. There's nothing wrong with you. So you've got, I don't know which situation you find yourself in, but I can tell you the one who's the cooperative one, of course, will be able to get to actually, let's say, receive. Whereas the other partner is somebody who, the rigid one, might not even agree to go and take counseling. So you are literally stuck there, right? Now, the only way we get out of that stuck feeling, and I want you to remember, is a triangle. When we get stuck in life, whether it's some addiction, whether it's some other issue in life, think of a triangle. At the top of the triangle, the apex is action, then you have your memory, and then you have a desire to just this is your software, the software of your soul. You need to know what your software is, otherwise you won't be able to find solutions. So any action I take, let's say I pick up a cigarette and I want to smoke, it creates a memory. And the memory could be, that whenever I pick up a cigarette, the memory is beautiful. I feel so relaxed. I feel so beautiful and I'm calm. So that memory produces the desire to pick up another cigarette. And I take up that same action again, pick up a cigarette. Now, this is a vicious cycle. And I love it because it's very predictable. Human beings don't like change and they just want to do the same thing again and again and again. But it's called a rut. Like if you go in a Jeep, the tires make that little indentation on the ground. And people love to go on that because it's an easier way. It's tougher when I leave that rut and move to a new road. Now, here, action is required. In the case of this person who's asking the question, you need an action from your spouse. Because if you guys don't take an action, either of you, nothing will change. When I say when you do something, something happens. When you do nothing, nothing happens. So now the action has to come from him or you. But guess what? I want to give you, there's a positive side to this. Supposing the spouse is not willing to take any action, or to listen to you or to understand anything, then according to the science of psychoneuroimmunology, which is mind can affect my body, or mind can affect my nervous system and then make my immune system better. So guess what? Your positive intention can have an influence on another human being who might not be interactive in the process of healing. Isn't that amazing? The power that you have Just your power of intention to make somebody become a better person, to deal with their issues and challenges, you have that potential. They do not even have to participate in the process. It's about your intention and your energy. You create it, you focus on it during your meditation, you see the transformation in the other person. So that's like phenomenal. There is neuroplasticity, a field which means my brain is not just staying stagnant. There are new neuronal connections. Every day, I can change the way my mind thinks. If I inherited negativity from my mom or depression from my dad, I don't have to stay with it. That people will tell you, you have genetics, you will get heart disease. Your mother had it, dad had cancer, you have the genes. Now there is another field called epigenetics, which is on top of the genetics. So your genes can change their expression.
Right.
I can make my cancer genes not express themselves and produce cancer in me. How? By changing my lifestyle, by actually following better lifestyle practices, sleep hygiene, good food, exercise, all this. And now my lifestyle is healthier, no more cancer. That's the power you have.
I think that is helpful to our viewer. I hope he gained some insight from that. That is our last Q&A question that we will take for this session. Dr. Samina, I would like to ask you, do you have a closing message for our viewers today?
Yes, I do. And I think it's a short message. It's short and sweet. And I would love for the viewers to follow it. The one word that I want you to take away from my talk today is balance. It's a simple word, but you need to experience it. So there's hard work involved in making it a reality in your life. But if you have balance in your life, things or homeostasis, everything will be great. Now, I also leave you with one question. And the question is, are you happy? And meditate on that. So, the most important thing in your life is happiness, isn't it? And I feel there needs to be a balance in five things for you to be happy. And those five are your nutrition or food, exercise, spirituality, relationships, and your career. If there's a balance in these five, and I want you to write a journal every day, try to see which needs attention out of the five that I just talked about and bring that back to balance. Okay. So now, if you have balance with these five, you will be happy. So I want to end this talk by wishing all of you balance, happiness, and good health. Take care of yourself. And it was just wonderful, communicating with you and sharing some of my experiences. I hope it was useful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Dr. Samina for being with us here today. And thank you to everyone who submitted their questions and who logged in to watch our webinar on a mind, body, and spirit guide to perfect health. We hoped you gained some interesting insight from today's discussion, and remember to breathe. Be sure to follow THP Global and Dr. Samina's online platforms to keep up with the latest health and wellness information. All the links and email addresses are in the description box below. Remember, one of you viewers will be a lucky winner, which we will announce tomorrow on our social media platforms. So make sure you stay tuned and see you at our next week THP Wellness Wednesday live webinar. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, THB. Thank you, Zermina, and the tech support. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.